and I am a property developer, and I am very lucky to have with me Morgan Sparrow from Blend Network. Hi, Morgan.
Hi everyone. Hi Manny.
So Morgan, if I get your job title correct, is a lending associate with Blend Network. So firstly, Morgan, would you like to give us a quick introduction about who you are and who is Blend Network?
Yeah, sure. So essentially, I'm on the origination team over at Blend. So that means we sort of work with developers to try and fund deals which that people are looking to get finance on. So Blend is a company based in London. We are a peer-to-peer lending platform, which essentially means we take money from individuals and put it into projects which we feel are going to give a good return and a nice, good, safe bet, which we have confidence in are good developers and good projects.
Great. So who would be your typical borrower? So, and how would they be different from somebody like looking to borrow from a bank or something?
Sure. So when the company was set up, it was looked to fill a gap which wasn't being serviced by the banks. So this is basically for a smaller developer who's maybe quite new to the game, doing something quite small, maybe not in central London, so it's a bit higher risk. But then obviously these projects 100% make sense, as I'm sure lots of people that you work with know. So we look to fund these projects up and down the country, from anything from like a small HMO development right up to ground up. Something that a bank normally wouldn't look at. They maybe 10, 15 years ago they would have, but now they definitely wouldn't. But there's still opportunities there for developers to make a profit, but the bank are just not interested in it anymore.
Yeah. Okay. High risk from other people's perspective, but not from your perspective. You're doing your due diligence, so I'm sure you're getting your numbers correct before you.
Exactly, and that's sort of how we pride ourselves. There is with some peer-to-peer funds, they were much more seen as sort of an eBay, where they would just put it up and it was up to the individual to sort of do their due diligence. We've taken a completely different stance on that because we've seen that it didn't work. So we've had zero defaults on the fact that we completely, look through the whole project and understand it completely. The team is a property-based team, so they're making sure that the project makes sense before it even gets anywhere near our investors and our lenders.
Great, thanks for that. So, general overview of the market and what we are finding is lenders are reducing their loan to values right now. A lot of the bigger lenders have obviously pulled out for various reasons. Some of it is because there's a volume of payment holiday requests and things like that, and they're having to deal with that first. And obviously, they ascertaining the risk is slightly higher at this point in time. So, what's Blend's stance in the whole COVID situation?
Yeah, sure. So it's difficult and it is different. And it's not just the big lenders that have pulled out. It's not just the banks. Lots of other, of our competition really has done the same, which has obviously it's concerning, but it's mainly because they're having problems with their funding, which because we are set up the way that we are, and our investors come from quite a diverse range of, as I said before, means that we have still got funding. This has then worked in our favor because obviously some deals haven't worked out with other lenders. These people, some of them are, very close to completing, and they've been left high and dry. So we're looking to sort of help them and, get these projects over the line. So it has been a struggle, but it's basically meant that we've become a lot busier with loans that maybe we wouldn't have seen before because otherwise they were being funded elsewhere. So it has been tricky, but it hasn't been necessarily bad for us as a company, which is
great. But you haven't changed your criteria as such from before, so your loan to values are similar to what they were before.
So yeah, they are similar. We are being a little bit more cautious because of valuers, bringing down prices.
Yeah.
That said, as long as nothing was really overly geared, we pride ourselves on being a highly geared lender anyway. So we were going up to 90% of cost, 75% of loan to GDV. We're probably more in line now with the traditional lenders. which have all disappeared. So we're kind of looking to fill, whereas before we maybe weren't competitive with them, we definitely are now. So yeah, it's kind of put us, hopefully, when we come out the other end,
in a
we'll
stronger
be in a stronger position than we were before.
Absolutely. And how do you think, so going back to your funding line, then you mentioned that, so your funding line has not been affected then, is that what you're saying?
No, so essentially, basically, a lot of people, especially the lenders on our platform, have had their money in the equity market. Obviously, they've lost a lot now, so they're looking for something a little bit safer. Obviously, properties are a nice place to have it. It's well secured. All of our loans are secured against the property themselves as we take first charge. So it's really a much safer bet in their eyes than anything else at the moment. Obviously, there's other products out there, but we've seen money coming onto the platform which we maybe wouldn't have before. So and as I said before, there's some people who are putting our £1,000 is our minimum amount you can put on. But then we also go right through to a high net worth, through to family offices. So all of them, it hasn't really been disrupted, which is obviously a benefit to us.
If anything else, like you said, right? You're getting people coming in from other platforms to you because you're a debt-based platform.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So how do you see yourself when coming out of COVID? Now, obviously, at the moment, there is probably been a lull, right, in terms of transactions other ways, but not in Blend. I think you guys are taking over transactions from other people who...
Correct, yeah.
So you haven't really stopped or...
No, to be honest, I think we're seeing a lot more deals. And whereas other lenders have obviously stopped lending, we're doing slightly more than we were expecting to do over this past month, which is great for everyone, because it means that projects don't have to be stopped. There's always going to be a housing deficit, so the demand is there. It's just people are struggling to fund. When it's really going to start ramping up again, and obviously where we're finding our biggest task to overcome is valuers and QSs to site. Because obviously we're not going to encourage anyone to go out of their comfort zone or to put anyone at risk. So what we've been looking at is doing like desktop valuations. If it's on markets that we know especially well, places like Coventry, we can take a more of a view on it. Whereas and that's the beauty of working in a small company. Yeah, it is those decisions. There isn't any tick boxes. It's much more so that we're looking at it case by case. Yeah, and, trying our best to fund everything that we can.
Yeah. So I think all in all, I think your platform is great for investors like us who want to, who've got some spare cash potentially and want to invest starting from £1,000, as you mentioned. What's been Blend's largest sort of deal in numbers to date then, in terms of a development deal?
Yeah, sure. So we've got a deal out in East Anglia, big ground up development. I think that's about 3.5 million, but it's all funded in stages. So if you're putting money onto that deal, you're not going to be putting it into the 3.5 and then seeing it back in whatever it is, 2 years. It's all funded in stages. So over the years, it's been going up and up.
Right. So that's 3.5 million for the actual build, or for the whole lot, for purchase as acquisition and development?
Acquisition and development, yeah.
Okay. So so it seems like you are doing pretty well, and you haven't had much. If anything, you guys have increased your business, and I think it's a great little niche for small developers like myself to come and see you. If any of other lenders are pulling out, really, that's really the key thing. Is there anything else that you'd like to add to something that maybe we haven't discussed, or?
I think just the general market for people like yourself, developers who are hungry for it and have some cash. Obviously there is opportunities. Deals that aren't getting funded are going to fall through, and they are going to be back on the auction. So they are, someone's going to take them, and there's no reason why it shouldn't be you. So we're looking for people who are doing exactly that, who are still looking for opportunities. As I said, there is always going to be a demand. That's not really going to change in the foreseeable future. So I think people maybe are a little bit tentative now. And even over this past month, the first 2 weeks, people were very much were so. And now I'm getting a lot more inquiries with, we are going to go ahead with this anyway now, because we don't really, I think there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel now, which people are looking to take advantage of.
Yeah, so I think it's not all doom and gloom. I think we've just got to. Do you think prices, if you had a crystal ball, do you think house prices are going to drop in the near sort of 3 months, 6 months?
So honestly, I think in the regions we're going to see it a little bit more than in London. So I think it's going to be balanced. So I think overall they are definitely, something's going to happen in the short term. But then I imagine the second half of the year, we've already had last year with a bit of tentativeness from Brexit.
Yeah.
Now that was on its way back. Everything was doing well. We were much busier. Then this has happened. So I think people are going to be more positive and be more proactive once they get back up and running again.
Sorry, just one last question before we go. Do you fund auction deals?
Yes, absolutely.
So you can in the whole 28-day remit?
Yeah, so the way that we would advise, we can do it in the 28 days, but there's no guarantee that we are going to, because not that we are going to fund it in that time. There's no guarantee that the project that you're putting forward to us, we do see a lot of applications. We fund 5% of those. So if you come to us with a deal which you've gone and bought at auction, without consulting any lender, it's a bit of a crazy thing to do. But if you come to us in advance and say, we are interested in this, could you fund it? We'll do all our due diligence and say, yes, if you this is what you're looking at, the amount you're looking at, absolutely, we will fund this, which gives you the confidence going into the auction. If you get it any cheaper, then that's great, that increases your profit margin, but it just means it's a bit more flexible.
So it's great. So basically, if I'm looking at auctions, I should come back to you first, get some sort of relative terms, and then I know a ballpark figure of where you're going to lend at, and so I know what I can afford in the auction.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just we can give, and we can more than happy to talk through a deal or discuss it with someone. It doesn't we want to fund it, so we're happy to give advice and say sometimes more often than not, actually people will come to us with a deal and we have to say, if you really stack this, are you really going to make money after you've paid for finance? Because
it's a great little due diligence that you guys are doing for us, to be
fair. Absolutely, and it's great.
So the other thing I was going to say then is, how do people get in touch with you if they're looking to come and get a deal assessed from you guys?
Yeah, sure. So you can go on the website, register through the website itself, which is www.blendnetwork.com. So it's quite simple.
Brilliant.
Or you can reach out to me directly. So that's Morgan, morgan.sparrow, SPARROW @blendnetwork.com.
Brilliant. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time and taking time out from your busy schedule, and hope to catch up with you soon.
Yep. See you after it's all over. Bye. Cheers, Manni. Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.